Welcome back, everybody. We are going to continue talking about the whistleblowers who finally got the justice that they deserve. Joining us now is FBI Special Agent who was retaliated against, Mike Zimmer. Mike, thanks so much for being here.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's an honor.
Absolutely. Thank you for being here, but also, as John and I were saying, I don't know if we have thanked you guys enough for what you have done. And I know you said that you were just doing the right thing, but unfortunately, I don't think our government breeds a lot of people who do the right thing. So thank you. Can you just give our audience an idea of what you went through, how this all started?
Basically, I was working a case. I was investigating public corruption in Louisiana. It was a case on a sexual predator district attorney. And what ultimately happened is we had a main witness named Danielle McGovern, who was a heroic woman, whistleblower in her own right. And she'd wired up on him. We had all the goods on him. He was asking her for sex in her apartment and asking her to obstruct justice, had it all on tape. She died, and then the U.S. Attorney's Office couldn't get rid of the case fast enough. Before we'd even had the opportunity to find other victims, and we knew there were other women out there. And it turned out that the first assistant U.S. attorney, the #2 federal prosecutor, owned a condo and other property with the DA's defense attorney.
Wow.
And so I reported that. They closed the case. They declined the case. And we kept looking, and we were able to get the case reopened again with a new U.S. attorney. But they ultimately, we found 22 victims of this DA. Got approval to charge him with racketeering, which is just a huge charge. Yeah. And unfortunately, the new U.S. attorney allowed his office to basically plead this guy down to harassing a witness with a 3-year maximum sentence.
Oh my gosh.
And essentially cut out virtually all of the sexual abuse from the factual basis that was filed with the court. So I insisted on reporting it to the judge, and I sent a letter to the judge after the FBI refused to review the letter, which I'm required to send it for review before sending it to anybody. And they broke the law by doing that, so I sent it anyway, and they suspended my security clearance. And it'll be 9 years, September 30th. So suspended indefinitely without pay, and I filed suit. I've been fighting him in court ever since, really. Yeah. Until this deal.
It's amazing the scope of victims here. I think you got about 20 women ultimately that I think your case put together, all sorts of things, sexual battery, coercion under government color for sexual favors. It is remarkable that in the middle of the Me Too era, a Justice Department that claimed it was Me Too, because this started with if I remember right, the Obama Justice Department really wasn't that interested in bringing justice here, were they?
No, they weren't. And it was I think the really sad, well, a lot of it's sad, but I think they were really just so worried about their reputation and looking bad because they had previously declined the case. And, and I think they didn't want to allow an FBI agent to have, blown the whistle on them and gotten them to change their mind. And that seems to be a common theme, is that the government, especially the higher ups making these decisions, don't want to go back on their decisions no matter how wrong they were.
I feel like one of the most damaging aspects of stories like this, and unfortunately this story is not isolated, where you have a public official using the weight of that office to get sexual favors or otherwise. When you have someone like Danielle who was willing to wear a wire to get in the dirt to get this guy, and then they end up with 3 years in prison, that is so damaging to our system of justice, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. And it's, in a lot of ways, I say, Danielle was, she was abused by this DA, and then she was abused by the Justice Department, after her death. And it's terrible, because we need people to come forward. We can't make these cases without people coming forward, and to see them disrespected like that is just atrocious.
There was a really fascinating piece of this puzzle, which is that you found a conflict of interest. I mean, you're a great digger. You're clearly one of the great agents in the Bureau. The U.S. attorney had a relationship with one of the defense lawyers financially, right? They were in some business together, if I understand correctly.
Yeah, it was actually a condo. They condo and another piece of property that they owned at the beach in Gulf Shores, Alabama. And and what was really difficult to take, and I'm still trying to forgive the Inspector General. But they ultimately decided that there was no conflict of interest because the federal prosecutor put the properties in his live-in girlfriend's name.
Oh,
Wow.
how nice.
Mike, so often you have service like yours that is a family legacy that is passed down. Same thing in the military, but serving our nation. Do you anticipate that for you, but for other people, other whistleblowers, is there a bit of bitterness that might cut off that legacy of service to the FBI and to our country?
I think people see this and they think twice, but I mean, one thing I will say is people who want to go in still will go in. They still want to serve, and obviously it's going to deter some people, but at the same time, I do think that sense of service is strong and people will still go in. I just hope that we can do a better job of protecting them.
I suspect there are people watching tonight because of your courage. They're going to go do that job someday. I mean, they might be a young person yet, but I think you're motivating some people today. You tell the judge at some point, he ultimately gets your letter despite the fact that the FBI doesn't do its job. Did you ever get a reaction from the judge? What did the judge think?
Actually, the judge wrote a great decision on it. I'd asked him to release it to the public. He decided against releasing it to the public, but he wrote in there, and I wish I could quote it exactly, but basically just that he shared the same concerns. And
Wow.
This was a judge who had overseen issues with the Dancing Bridge case, which was a big Hurricane Katrina scandal involving New Orleans Police Department and prosecutorial misconduct involved in that. And he had, so he had actually ordered investigations in that case, and I hoped he was going to do the same in the Morrell case, the DA case, but he didn't. But still, he really backed me up, which I really, really appreciate.
It's pretty rare. That's a big moment.
Yeah, Mike, I want to ask you a question that I'm not sure I want to know the answer to, but before we let you go, looking at the FBI, your experience at the FBI and what you see it to be now, if you take out the 7th floor, are there more good guys and gals than bad guys and gals?
Oh yeah, I definitely think so. It's I stay in touch with a lot of agents and a lot of people, and now I work for Empower as an attorney, so I deal with a lot of these whistleblowers that come forward too, and I just see good people, a lot of good people, and so I think it's still there. I think we just need to do a better job of protecting.
2016 to 2024. That's how long, Mike, you fought. When you got the word this week that the director had signed off on this settlement and you were finally made whole, what was your first thought?
Relief.
Yeah.
I still have a few, well, I need to dismiss them all now, but I still have, cases pending, and it's just, it's emotionally very draining working on your own cases. So I'm just incredibly grateful and happy.
Yeah.
And now, remarkably, you're helping other whistleblowers through the journey
Absolutely.
with your work at the Empower Oversight. What an additional contribution.
Yeah, for the better part of a decade, you fought for this. Mike Zimmer, thank you so much for being with us tonight.
Oh, thank you. I really appreciate it.
Great honor.
Absolutely. All right, everybody. Our very own Jerry Dunleavy has a dynamite story that we're going to hit with him on the other side of this break.